Last time you were in a hospital, what was the reason?
I work there.
I was getting a checkup to make sure I don't have cancer anymore. 2 days ago. I finally decided to get help for my PTSD and alcoholism. Kidney stones wouldn't pass on their own. That's the worst pain I've ever experienced. Coffee shop gave me regular instead of decaf. Resting heart rate of 140 and sweating buckets. Appendicitis. Waited till the last hour, metaphorically speaking. 36 hours from first sign of pain till I caved in. That when I woke, the surgeon was shocked it didn't burst. But I also had to have it done via open surgery, which made the recovery time a lot more. I work here. Send help. I had a fever of a 103. I didn't know I'd started to hallucinate until I was telling my doctor about awesome movie Scooby-Doo meets the Smurfs I'd watched, and he pointed out there was no TV in my room. Serotonin syndrome. 2021, only time I ever called the ambulance for myself in 55 years. Severe preeclampsia. Went in for a routine check, wasn't allowed to leave for a month. Came out with a healthy son though. Shout out to the team at St. Thomas Hospital in London. Tore some connective tissue in my ribs at the gym and it got so painful I went to the ER. After a few scans they came in and were like, yeah, that'll heal up. In other news, you have a huge lesion in your chest and we're connecting you to oncology. Diabetic ketoacidosis because I couldn't afford insulin at the time. Reconstruction surgery after a double mastectomy. Breast cancer. Do not eat the myceri bean. Unfortunately, I work there. Open heart surgery. Had a heart valve replaced due to an infection, on the table for 4.5 hours. Very painful, and long recovery. Mine's a bit unusual. Spent 4 days on 4 antibiotics after being bitten by a brown recluse spider. Birth of my daughter, and a month stay in the NICU because she was 7 weeks early. Turned 1 last month and is doing wonderfully. I broke my foot in 2 places while running through my house in the morning getting ready for work. Only I didn't know it was broken and I drove an hour in traffic to work, stood on it for 3 hours until someone else got there, then drove 40 minutes home, walked 4 blocks home from my parking spot and climbed up 3 flights of stairs. I was literally hallucinating from pain by the time I finally got to the hospital. Checked myself in for a psychiatric hold for suicidal thoughts. Got sent home the next day due to overcrowding and not actively trying to kill myself. Scans to see how much cancer I still have, answer enough to piss me off. Yesterday. My girlfriend's Nana passed. We all loved her dearly, and the fact that not only her husband and son, but her grandkids friends who she has been so influential to, and even multiple neighbors came to say goodbye. She was so easy to love and we're gonna miss her a lot. Surgery last week. 2 weeks before that I was in AE getting my head glued after a workplace accident badly cut my scalp. Self-admission so I wouldn't cut my wrists again. Had 3 family members in at the same time for different reasons. My dad was in for gallstones, my mom was in for cancer treatment, and my brother was getting a heart transplant. I've donated a liver to my youngest son. I fainted at school and broke my teeth. Spilled the suicidal beans to my at the time occupational therapist and she told my parents to take me to the ER. Herniated L4 L5 with compression on my S1. Could barely walk. 3 months later, 3 cortisone shots later and a shitload of daily physical therapy and I can walk and work and just about everything I could do before. I was just at the hospital a few times with my child that needed surgery. But for me, it was after a car rear-ended me at 70 miles per hour while I was at a dead stop in traffic on the highway. On an acute psych ward at the moment. Depression isn't much fun. Suspected heart attack. PSA: have a suspected heart attack, arrive in an ambulance, no waiting. On the other hand, you'll get a big bill, which will give you a heart attack. Referred to the ER because urgent care didn't know if a sinus infection was aggravating my trigeminal neuralgia or if I was stroking out popping an aneurysm. Overnight stay was 2018, 4 days for birth, C-section, recovery from infection. Having a baby. Water broke 5 weeks early and I lost so much fluid that we had to have a C-section. Went back to visit baby in the NICU for 2 weeks and then she got to come home smiling face with open mouth. My son was very sick, with some virus I had never heard of before, that attacked a part of his stomach after a stomach bug. I had my appendix in my stomach. It was supposed to be taken out 4 years ago, but they only drained out the pus and they told me to come back, but my dad never brought me back, so it filled up with pus last year in October. Then I got it taken out. Pancreatitis and alcohol detox. Life slowly fell apart. AMD in 2017 I lost my wife, ability TLC my daughter. Just hit 6 years sober this month and have my family and wife back along with my same job. Pancreatitis was extremely painful. I was there a good 5 days. You broke my dick. My dirt bike skills were rusty. But hey, at least the barbed wire fence I crashed into wasn't. LOL. I was there for an excruciating 8 hours, all because that's how long the day shift is. Grinning face with smiling eyes. Bleeding from somewhere I shouldn't have been bleeding from. I'm all good, though. Thankfully. Fusion of 2 more vertebrae in my lower back. I have so much metal on my spine, I'm almost bionic, still in constant pain, but I don't want any more surgeries. 7 is enough. Stroke at 32. Ignored a UTI for a month. Spread to my kidneys and then my bloodstream. Always pee after sex. Kids. I tried to take my own life. I've been struggling mentally for a long time, and having been messed about by the people that were supposed to help me to access therapy. I felt like I'd just been left to deal with it, and couldn't see a way out. That and other things I've been dealing with recently. I now have a great mental health team that are putting me on the right track. But I am angry that the action was only taken after I got to breaking point. It's not like I didn't want help. I just wasn't getting it. I never go, but I have a family member who goes often. I call for an ambulance much more often than ordering takeout. Just physically in a hospital visiting my best friend while she was staying in a hospital for myself 8 or 9 years ago when I got my tubes taken out because I never wanted kids. I was basically in and out within less than half a day. My gallbladder ruptured and tried killing me. 3 emergency surgeries and a week-long inpatient stay later, I'm still here. LOL. Hip replacement. Was stabbed with a bottle. Stroke at 54, 2 days in hospital, 2 weeks in rehab. About 2 hours ago. I work there. My job. LOL. I am a nurse. Seriously though, had cataract surgery a few weeks ago, awaiting round 2 at the end of the month with much anticipation. Imbalanced vision sucks. LOL. My 5-year-old son passed away from Group A streptococcus. Cyst. Cut myself. I donated a kidney. My fiancé had cancer. He was extremely fatigued and we thought it was side effects of the radiation he had been getting. Called an ambulance to bring him into the ER when he couldn't even sit up in bed. Turned out he was septic. Passed away 12 hours